with Lucy. And it's something that needs to be brought up and talked about a little bit more. I don't think people realize the degree and level of how bad the situation actually is right now. A lot of people who live in California might just look at it as something that is confined to California. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about by now, I am talking about the droughts. So let's go on ahead and play this. Chris, are you familiar with this? Have you heard anything about the drought situation that's been going on?
No, I haven't. This is like my first time hearing this, so go ahead.
So go
Oh,
ahead, yeah.
somebody mentioned choke no joke in the chat. What you know about choke, Hamza? Hamza, where you from? Talk about choke no joke.
Stay Yonkers.
No, it's just funny because not people should know about choke, but not everybody does know about choke. Choke no joke.
All right, here we go.
And now to some concerning news about our state's most valuable resource, water. The Department of Water Resources' final snow survey out of the season is out today, and its numbers are not showing any promise. Now, the state must prepare for a third straight year of drought. Today's survey recorded a snow depth of 2.5 inches and only 1 inch of snow water content, which is 4% of the average this time of year. The statewide snowpack sits at just 38% of average to date, and many of the state's reservoirs are still at below average levels, with California's largest reservoir, Lake Shasta, at just 38% full. The statewide reservoir storage is at just 48% of the system's total capacity. Now, April 1st is traditionally when our snow water content peaks, yet this year, California's snow water content peaked in mid-January. And of course, this could all impact everyday tasks like drinking, bathing, and farming for millions living in the Golden State. UC Scott Withers has more on what this could mean for you and explains it's not just a worry here in California.
California Sierra Nevada mountains, breathtaking. The snow-capped peaks. Well, those peaks, less snow-packed than they should be. The winter started out with a blizzard of snow, 17 feet falling in December, almost setting a record. It was exactly what the Golden State and the western U.S. needed after 2 years of drought. But then it stopped. January, February, March, normally the wet season, now the driest on record.
The storms early in the season really did help, and that's kept things from being catastrophically dry, but it's still very dry and a very critical situation.
The snowpack dwindled, as did the hopes of snapping the mega drought.
I think things are going to be more difficult than they were last year.
At Phillips Station, the official snowpack measurement site near South Lake Tahoe, the measurements dropping from 202% above average after the December snows to just 2/3 of the normal measurement last month. Across the state, the same. The snow disappearing quickly, month to month.
This is definitely a third year of drought for pretty much all of California.
California needs the snow to melt, but not yet. The state gets a third of its water from the snowpack. It runs down the mountainside and makes its way into the reservoirs. Many of those reservoirs already below normal levels.
It's going to be like last year, maybe not quite so bad in some places, maybe worse in a few places.
58% of the country in some level of drought, 100% of California suffering.
Third year of drought at this level and magnitude is really kind of unprecedented for modern California.
It's not alone. Nevada and Utah also completely in the grips of the mega drought. Federal officials already cutting back water distribution to farmers this year.
Some watersheds curtailments will start far earlier, and that will have, I think, a more significant economic impact for growers.
And state officials making their plans for the year based on the state's final snowpack measurement, which is likely going to be low.
I'm muted, sorry. But what are your thoughts on that, Chris?
I had never heard that. I mean, obviously I live on the total opposite side of the country. I knew there was droughts in California, but I didn't know it was like getting to that type of level. I have a very conspiratorial brain, right? I always think like, again, this just seems like some shit to further push the climate change agenda. But at the same time, when you're looking at what used to be a body of water and you're like, well, this is, Now with Sandy, I'm hearing feedback, Marcus, that was on you.
Yeah, I said, give me 1 second. But
Oh,
no,
okay.
keep going.
You know, it just makes me think that, you know, is there something else happening besides, you know, this being a natural thing? Oh, okay, yeah, I just saw your message. No problem. Um, so, uh, as I said, I don't know. I see people in the comments, like I see Doom and Gloom saying it's geoengineering. I see Steve saying that he got priced out of it. Dale says, let's ask Nestle. Um, Thoughts start turning off. They completely drained Lake Mendocino. I'm just reading some of you guys' comments. My bad. They completely drained Lake Mendocino last year. Damn, Steve, did you have to be so savage? Steve, that was savage, kid. I like how they left out all those companies using all that water for industrial farms. Yeah, I don't. Thank you. You know, I'm just getting ice from my drink over here. I like how they left out all those companies using our water for industrial farms. Yeah, I mean, you guys who live on the West Coast would probably be able to speak to this better than I would. I'm not, you know, I'm not up to speed on what's going on out there. But again, I think none of these things happen without some kind of um, without some type of human interaction that causes at least some of it. Oh, there you go, Marcus. You go. Oh, you had to get something to drink. I
Yeah,
feel you.
I had to go get my drink. But yes, SM says I hear almonds require tons of water. Yes, almonds do, and that's part of the problem. Whether it is from them engineering it, whether it is from climate change, whatever the cause is, the fact of the matter is there is definitely droughts, and it's not just California. I probably shouldn't have. Let me put that back up on the screen so I can go to that map that was in there. The map showed the whole entire country. Oh, excuse me. Let me get to that part. The areas which are red are the areas which are really bad. I remember covering not that long ago about how certain Native American tribes were being pushed off of their land because of the lack of water that's in the area. So let me pull that part up and go there.
Last month. Across the state, the same. The snow disappearing quickly, month to month.
This is definitely the third year of drought for pretty much all of California.
California needs the snow to melt.
Let's see, where was that map at? There we go. That is
In some level of drought, 100.
Let's pause that. Let's get off Bernie Sanders' cousin.
You didn't even hear me. You didn't hear me snort. I just did, but when you said Bernie Sanders' cousin.
But you see this map here. The white, of course, is indicating that it's not too rough. That's, kind of normal. But if you see where all that red is really bad. Red and the yellow. Those are the two worst of the areas. And this area down here next to Texas and Louisiana is where a couple of different tribes had to relocate to other places because of being pushed off of that. And not to mention that you have people like Bill Gates who are literally buying up water supplies. And the Koch brothers are buying up, literal rivers where, plenty of towns and communities were built off of, because you go back to the early industrial days. That's how most towns were built, off of a local water supply, because of course you needed water for everything, and they couldn't pump it in very easily, so they built the town around them. Well, you're having certain areas where that is even the part of it has to do with overpopulation in some of these areas. Some of it has to do with natural events. Some of it does have to do with manipulation. Um, yes, droughts in Tornado Alley. You see that, don't you? For those who don't know what we're talking about, Tornado Alley.
Yes,
I
I
grew up.
do.
I
I
grew
see
up
it right
near
up.
Tornado Alley.
I see
This
it right
is
up the middle of the map.
now. You see where I have the arrow at. This is where Kansas City is, where I grew up. Luckily, they're within the white. But this area that's out here, which is orange, that is a lot of farmland. That is a problem. Right here, where this red is, this is close to the city of Wichita, which is, you know, a very, very large population base of the state of Kansas. Missouri is obviously in the clear for the most part. But if you look right here, this area across Oklahoma and Texas are where a lot of storms happen. So it's going to literally start changing the ecosystem in certain areas and eventually make it unpalatable for people to be able to actually live in some of these areas. Now, everybody has their own theories. I'm not here to confirm or deny any of these different theories on it, but I just wanted everybody to be aware of that because we have food shortages, and I feel like this also ties in with some of these food shortages possibilities. So just wanted to put that out there. Let's see where it said North Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, West Tennessee, and North Mississippi. Yeah, well, I don't know if you're talking about those are Tornado Alley. West Tennessee. I don't know. Maybe they do get maybe North Mississippi. I've never known them to be part of Tornado Alley, but it could be. I've always known Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, Iowa, Arkansas. I guess Louisiana has to worry more about getting hit with hurricanes than tornadoes. That's their biggest issue to have to deal with. Jimmy says Bill Gates just bought a 43 million estate touching the same ocean in Del Mar, California, that
That
he
I did
said would
see too,
be
Jeremy.
underwater in a decade. Explain that one. I can explain it. That's why I need some of you smart people to break down some of the stuff which we don't know about. But I just thought it was interesting. Hey, you normally hear droughts in these areas, but now that pattern of drought is moving all the way across. I mean, if you remember, I don't know if you remember or not, but in the 1920s in Kansas, they had a certain term for this called the Dust Bowl, and that's when a lot of products died. That's when you had a lot of starvation and a lot of those things. And now to think about it, it's kind of creepy. Roughly about 100 years ago, that these things were going on that was leading us into what was later called the Great Depression. I see us in almost those same kind of dire straits. The only difference is we have a little bit more technology, but the same conditions which are presenting themselves right now. So let's go on. Or do you have anything else you want to say on the drought issue? I know you might not know a lot about it, especially being in Florida when you get rain all the time and you're next to the ocean. You don't see that, but especially once you start getting to more states which are landlocked, which don't have, oceans around them or even a lot of big water like rivers and things like that, rivers, lakes, ponds. So, Kelly said we got fire tornadoes in Oregon last year, the best of both worlds. That's something that's actually going to have to start being factored in. That it's not going to just be tornadoes. It's not going to just be fires. It's going to be a mixture of both. And if all of a sudden a ton of water starts flooding in, start getting a high level of precipitation, you're going to have to start worrying about another issue, especially this happens all the time in California, mudslides. So all of those things to be factored in. Bill Gates built a nuclear reactor in Wyoming. He could be. I know one other thing that they're building in Wyoming